Hello and welcome to today's Delta Credit Tip. So today we're talking about establishing positive trade lines. How do you get past needing credit to get credit and all that other nonsense? Well, stay tuned. We'll tell you how on today's Delta Credit Tip. Hello and welcome back to today's Delta Credit Tip. Personally, I'm on vacation this week, right? But you've made the choice. You're deciding to make the change. So we're going to stick with you as promised every Thursday, rain or shine, 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, with information that will help you through your Delta credit restoration process. Okay? If you haven't done it, subscribe below, hit the little bell so that you know when these notifications come out. But most importantly, people, you gotta share this information, right? This is how we collectively out there make that change together. That Delta Squad, guys, we gotta stick together. We gotta share this information. This is how we do it, okay? So speaking of information, today we're talking trade lines, right? The biggest issue with credit is the conundrum. How do I build credit when it takes credit to get credit? Well, there's 3 ways that you can actually add trade lines to your credit report. And why is this important? Right? Why is it important to have positive trade lines on your credit report? Well, simply this. If we delete all the bad stuff off of your credit report, all of it, and there's nothing good on there, you still have bad credit. You're still not lendable. Right? So we need to make sure that you've got some positive trade lines on there so that lenders have something to measure, so that the bureaus have something to measure. There are certain compartments of your credit score, and if you don't have trade lines to start putting data in those different matrix, then your score will not be what you need it to be when you need to buy that house or that car or get that student loan or whatever the case may be. All right? So let's talk about 3 ways that you can start to build trade lines. And we'll start with the first and the obvious, the old-fashioned way, apply for credit. Well, of course, if you have no credit at all, that's when that whole need credit to get credit conundrum comes into play, right? How am I going to qualify because my score is going to be low? I don't have the history to back it up. How am I going to get on there? Well, you can always look at the type of loan that you're seeking, okay? You can do what they call a collateralized loan or a collateralized line of credit, whereby you provide them some sort of security, right? Because that's really what it's all about. They want to feel as though if they lend you money, you're going to pay them back. So if you give them the money that you plan to borrow, well, that's 100% way of making sure you got their money to pay them. And that's what they can do. So you go to your bank, you give them $200, they give you a $200 credit card, but they hold your $200 in case you don't pay. Simple, right? They do also have these with loans. You can collateralize cars, accounts, CDs. There's all kinds of things that you can collateralize, including retirement accounts, to establish a loan. But I'm not a big fan of building credit with loans, only because at some point that loan will close and lower your score when it happens. Not to mention, you don't have to have debt to have credit. Right? If you have a credit card and you pay it off at the end of the month and there's no annual fee, well, that's free. Right? Your stated rate might be 18%, but your effective rate is 0 when you pay it off within that billing cycle. So it doesn't have to cost us money to have credit. We don't have to have debt to have credit. Second way of getting a positive trade line, you can become an authorized user. So what is an authorized user? Well, an authorized user is a person who has access to use a credit line, but does not have the responsibility of making a payment. Perfect relationship if you ask me. So how do you do that? Well, if there's a loved one or a spouse, someone in the family that has that credit card with positive payment history and a debt-to-credit ratio below 30%, debt-to-credit ratio being the balance on your credit card versus the limit on your credit cards. Of course, you want to make sure that you always stay below 30%. And if you're going to become an authorized user on someone else's card, make sure that they are below 30% and they've never paid it late. Okay? If you do not have someone in your immediate environment that has the ability or the wherewithal or the inkling to help you in this way, well, then there is the third alternative, which is asking a complete stranger to do this. Now, of course, they're going to want a little bit of cash on the side, but this is a legal way of building credit. Now, at Delta Credit Restoration, we do not use this technique. I don't believe in this technique, only because for us, credit is not a score. It's a series of behaviors that lead to a score. So if I'm using somebody else's behavior to boost your score, I haven't done my job. So building trade lines by buying a trade line is an alternative. And there's websites all over the place where you pay them a fee and you'll become an authorized user for some random person, and they'll put that on your credit report and boost your score. How long it lasts, to be honest with you, I don't know. I didn't investigate that because that's not something that I really care to do. But you're a grown person, you do whatever you want. Okay? So, I hope this information helps. If so, please, thumbs up. Don't forget, subscribe below, hit the bell. More importantly, you got to share it, people. You got to share it. All right, this is how we become empowered. This is how we collectively help each other to make a choice, make a change. Delta.